Hey everyone, Ms. Dempsey here. This is a guide for Rebel Ring with a 2016 Lexus RCF Group 2. Let's get this started. Quick note, one of the turns that you want to focus the most on is going to be the first turn. You want to try to get this turn nailed down because if you mess it up, it's going to cost you quite a bit of time. So as the lap begins, bring yourself to the left side of the track, bring yourself all the way to the left side of the track, and brake just before you reach the 100-meter board. Brake hard for a short moment, and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in. You want to either go over or around this little yellow thing that is hanging out at the apex, because if you hit it with the wheels, you risk losing control. And then you want to try to carefully ease on the throttle on third gear to try to maintain control of the car. If you do it right, you can shave off quite a bit of time just off of that first turn alone. Now bring yourself to the left side of the track and brake before you reach the 100-meter board. Brake as much as you can for a short while and start to ease off of the brakes as you start to turn in. Take advantage of the curb, and once you hit the apex, you want to slowly start to apply a throttle, get the car straightened up as fast as you can, and then fully accelerate. Now bring yourself to the left side of the track, look for the 100-meter board as you want to brake just before you pass it, start to brake on the tarmac, brake hard for a short while, and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in. Gently accelerate as you make your way through this turn, as it's really easy to generate wheel spin here. Now bring yourself to the right, look for the 50-meter board, brake hard for a short moment, and slowly ease off of the brakes as you turn in. Try to take advantage of the curbs on the left and slowly accelerate. Bring yourself to the right, and just as you're about to pass the curb that is on the right, use a little bit of braking and turn in. Take advantage of the curves for the left and right sides of the track. Now bring yourself to the left side of the track, look for the 50-meter board as you want to brake just before you pass it. Brake hard for a very short moment, then quickly start to ease off of the brakes. Take advantage of the curves, stay on the left, brake before the red and white areas on the left end, and just like the last turn, brake hard for a short moment, quickly ease off of the brakes, and carefully accelerate. But that is all for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the strategies. For this race, we are doing 13 laps over at Rebel Ring with the Group 2 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel will not be a problem at all, but the tire wear will be an issue because the tire wear is a ×10. We are given both racing medium and hard tires, and both racing medium and hard tires are required for this race, so make sure you use both tire compounds so you don't get a 1-minute penalty after the race ends. And you remember earlier in the video when I mentioned about how important it is to focus on turn 1, you're going to see why. So as we start the race, I'm going to go ahead and mess up the first turn. So I'm going to end up hitting the curb that's hanging out at the apex. That's going to make the car bounce and almost lose control. So that's going to give second place the opportunity to quickly catch up to me and even pass me as we are approaching the second turn. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're always able to get the first turn right, because if you mess up that first turn, it's going to cost you quite a bit of time and potentially maybe even a position or two. And we are in the Group 2 cars, so we are dealing with high downforce cars. On the higher speed sections, this will come in handy because the slipstream will allow the cars to go even faster, but once you start to go through the turns, the slipstream or the dirty air will make the cars a bit more understeery as you go through these turns because of the lack of downforce. So you want to be a little more careful whenever you're under someone's slipstream, within 3/4 of a second behind someone as you're engaging with the dirty air, and your car will be a bit more understeery, which will contribute to more front tire wear. And because of that front tire wear, you're going to want to bring the brake balance towards 1 or 2 to the rear of the car. In this race, I actually had the brake balance at 0 because I forgot to change the brake balance before the race started. But yeah, 1 or 2 to the rear of the car should do you well, especially if you're constantly hanging out under the dirty air. Now let's go ahead and talk about pit strategy. So once again, fuel is not an issue because the fuel multiplier is a ×2, so not an issue. The tire wear is a ×10, so tire wear will be an issue. The racing medium tires will last you anywhere from 6 to 8 laps depending on how you take care of your tires and how long you're under the dirty air. And we're going to pit on this lap at the end of lap 7. And also, you want to know where the pit stop is. It's just after the second to last turn. Just keep on turning right and there's the pit entry. So your pit loss is going to be at around 8 seconds. So that's a bit of a longer pit loss time, which is going to make the 1 stop the better strategy to go with. 2 stop is too risky, especially if you end up in multiple battles, you end up in the dirty air, and yeah, you're going to end up losing too much time to make the 2 stop worth it. And if you're starting in the back, start on the racing hard tires to get the slower tire compound out of the way, and then eventually, once you're reaching the halfway point of the race, you can then switch on over to the racing medium tires. And at the end of the day, just make sure you use both racing medium and hard tires because both tires are required, and you definitely do not want the 1-minute penalty that will be applied at the end of the race if you did not use one of those tire compounds. As for the go-to cars for this race, the 2016 Nissan Multo Autech GT-R is pretty much going to be the car that a lot of people are going to use for this race. It's been a really good car, probably dominant in the Group 2 car class, and it's not going to be much different here. It's going to be a really good car to use for this race. But another car that is also good for this race is the 2016 Lexus RZF, which is the car that I'm using for this video. This car, in my personal experience, drives almost similar to that of the 2016 GT-R. It feels really good to drive. It feels slightly more stable than the GT-R from my personal experience. And yeah, so if you're looking for a car to use that's not the GT-R, then you can definitely take a look at this car. So let's go ahead and take a look at places to get an overtake done. The main straight is one place where it is possible to get overtake done, but it's a little dangerous in my personal opinion because you have the curb that is at the inside of the turn. This part is a little narrow, so you do want to be careful if you try to get the overtake done there. If you can, just wait it out until you approach this second turn. This one is a little better for overtaking. You just want to make sure that you leave the space for the opponent if they're next to you. And here comes the first penalty serving zone right here, just after the second turn. This upcoming third turn is another place where you can get overtake done, especially if the opponent got a really bad exit out of the second turn. Then it's going to be a bit more single file line. This place isn't really going to be the best place to get an overtake done unless if the opponent messes up. But other than that, if you guys are not messing up, then you're pretty much going in a single file line through this part. And here comes the second and final penalty serving zone right over here, just before the Gran Turismo sign. And you want to be careful right here. You can try to get the overtake done, but if people are going for the pit stop, you want to try not to battle anyone there. But anyways, that is pretty much it for this guide. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Muslim CA, wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.